going to be, you know, I'm going to be also, speaking it's Xhosa. Does everybody understand
Okay.
Xhosa?
Yeah, no, I do understand. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. We
Okay,
good.
great. Yeah, yeah. So I am Lwazi Radebe Kazotu Pikiso and Anton Radebe. And I grew up at Pizana. It's a
Mm-hmm.
town in, yeah, it's a town in Eastern Cape, uh,
Mm-hmm.
bordering KZN. And
Mm-hmm.
I grew up there, but I lived in different places,
Mm-hmm.
Mahambekal. Um, yeah, and different schools. And I studied IT, and I'm currently working for myself and also for a bank. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'm a dad of two beautiful, creative, smart, beautiful
Mm-hmm.
daughters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
absolutely amazing. That's
thank you.
absolutely amazing. So Lwazi, we are speaking mental health, as we said in the beginning. And so from your life experiences, from, the different hats that you wear as an employee, as an employer, as an entrepreneur, as a dad, what does mental health mean to you?
For me, it's a state of good health in terms of your mind,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just being able to express your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not happy about something, then saying it out. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
I grew up. I grew up in the villages. That's what I say. Villages of Eastern Cape in
Mm-hmm.
Savannah. And growing up with Lalini, you think everything is fine until maybe you get exposed to other urban areas or other families. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I would go to Egualusen, that is looking after my grandpa's or my father's cattle.
Mm-hmm.
And as a boy, if you come back home, you crying or um another boy beat you up, because back where we look after cattle,
Mm-hmm.
you can get into a fight. You come back home, you're crying. Hey man, you think someone is gonna say, "Oh boy, I'm so sorry," or no, none of that. None of that is gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. In fact, what you will get is so much you so luckily, I would say for me and some of most of the boys my age that grew up
Mm-hmm.
in Lalin, we had a lot of activities,
Mm-hmm.
so instead of dwelling on the fact that you are hurting and
Mm-hmm.
there's really no one to talk to, then there's distractions, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
in terms of mental health, I would say growing up, it was mostly helped by there were distractions. Sports,
Mhm.
playing with other kids. And growing up for me, I was very, very active, very
Mhm.
active. I did a lot of things. So
Mhm.
yeah, that is how I would say I helped myself.
Mhm.
Because I don't remember any of my parents or malume or aunt saying, "Are you okay? Are you good?
Mm.
I love you,
Mm.
man." You know,
Mm.
none of that. So yeah, so as now a dad, um, I would say, after you know after having my first child and daughter,
Mhm.
everything kind of changed because now I'm just like I can't raise this girl like how I grew up, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I told myself that I'm going to be the father that I never had, and
Mm-hmm.
also I love my parents. Okay, I love my parents. They did what they could uh, with
Yeah.
their own knowledge, the tools that they
Mm-hmm.
had. Um, yeah, and then yeah, I'm raising my kids the way that I I wish my father was like, the way that
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm open to my kids. We sit. If there's a problem, we talk. We take a walk. What's up, kids? Talk to me. You know. Yeah, yeah. So I'd say that so far that's how I am doing it. We talk about issues, whatever issue, or
Yeah.
anything. Doesn't necessarily have
Yeah.
to be an issue. So
Yeah. And before we get into the dead part of Lwazi, just as Lwazi a man, right? There is um there is such a standard for what a man should be, how a man should carry himself. I mean, most men that we have in this generation were raised kind of similar to you. You don't cry, you don't show emotion, you should be the strong one. Don't you get what I mean? You have to be the one who keeps it together. And yet now things are changing, and we are wanting men to show their emotions, and we are wanting men to show their vulnerability. And so how have you been able to get yourself from a place where you were taught not to be weak, and now getting to a place where you're like, wait, actually me showing my emotions is a strength in a way. And I'll make reference to your quote where you said that you can stand up for yourself and you can speak up, but you're standing up for yourself doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be aggressive. And so how did you get to that?
okay, so you're hitting me with my own. so I will just talk about a recent thing. So I have a group of very good friends, very good friend of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
so we have a WhatsApp group, um, and I at some point I found myself uh, struggling with the things that I would say they soft, you know, and it's the things that with you know my uh, understanding of as I was growing up is that be a man, okay,
Mm.
be a man. Um, I started talking about it was mostly about my feelings and also what I am going through, not knowing
Mm.
that actually I'm going to be opening up um, to get other guys to also start talking. I'm just like,
Mm.
man, yeah, I think it's easier to talk to other men um,
Mm-hmm.
than to let's say to now talk to my girlfriend, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or to my wife, or it's I think it's difficult because guys have been hurt before, and
Mm-hmm.
they vulnerable to their partners, and only to be made fun of, you know, because other women they also have an understanding that a man should be strong. Why are you so
Mm.
weak? Why are you crying? What's wrong with
Mm.
you? You know. Um, I was telling also this other friend of mine that it's a lady, and I'm saying I I cannot position myself um, telling you, lady, that you hurt me
Mm.
because again it just feels like I'm uh, I'm 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 weak, you know.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So because of the upbringing, it's not easy. So in
mm-hmm,
terms of mental health for a man like me or just me, because I don't want
mm-hmm,
it to be a something I'm not familiar with. It's just me. So
mm-hmm,
I I open up to my friends, and we've
mm-hmm,
established um, that now we can talk to each other about such things. Whether it's I am stuck, my finances are not coming all right, and I mean
mm-hmm.
that can put you in a very very bad state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
some people have committed suicide because it's just too much.
Mm,
So yeah, we talk to each other about such things. That's
mm.
how I have been balancing it out. Yeah.
Mm, mm. No, that's good to hear. I think it's important, and we have said this countless times on this platform to say everybody needs a community of people that you can trust and you can rely on. And so likewise, it's important for even guys to have somewhere they can go to where they feel safe and they can have these conversations. But also from what you're saying, Lwazi, in as much as men have been conditioned from a young age to say, look, be a man, be a man. I think that women as well have been fed the same narrative to say this is what a man should look like. You should never see him weak. You should never see him struggling. You should never see him, in any position where he's casting any sort of doubt in what he's able to do. But from what we are talking about here, for me, it brings me to a point of reflection to say, as a sister, as a wife or as a girlfriend or as a friend to a male figure, how am I conditioning my mind to also get to a point of realizing that before this person is just a male, or before this person is just my husband or my boyfriend or my father, or whatever the relation might be, this person is an individual who is experiencing life, who experienced trouble, and who needs a safe space. And so perhaps in this conversation, women will also begin to have an introspection to say, wait, am I being a safe space for a male? Not just my man or my husband, but for men, because we are living in an era where, yes, women do need to be protected. But likewise, if we can protect our men, especially, for example, I'm a mother of a young boy. When I speak to begin to look at him as a man, he's a child, but he's going to grow up to be a man. And so how am I changing the narrative for him? How am I showing him to say, tell me that you had a hard day and it doesn't take anything away from you? And so it's amazing, Lwazi, that we even having this conversation. And so speaking on this, as a father figure who is raising two beautiful girls, how are you then showing them what a man is as a father? You're introducing them to say, look, we are strong, I'm dad, but hey, dad also has bad days. How do you navigate around that?
I say, I say a man is a man. Man is strong. Man,
Mm,
man has a cape.
mm,
Well, I I would say I gosh, it's a lot that's just flooding my mind now.
mm-hmm,
I show my kids because I don't want to say I tell them. I show that I can protect you, you
mm-hmm,
know, and I'm providing,
mm-hmm,
um, and I am teaching you, uh, life. Although you
mm-hmm,
still must experience life the way that you want to experience it.
mm-hmm.
You know. Um, so for me, I say to them, um, or like I said, I protect them as a man or
Mm-hmm.
as a father to them. I teach them, and like I said earlier on, I we talk about everything and anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that this type of conversation is only with your mother. This one is only with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I am that father that talks about everything. Whether it's an issue now, or we are just having fun, or okay, you in trouble. I must basically, I must know my child, and if I get a phone call and I'm told that she stole something, if I know that back at home she is this type of a person, I must not like I must not be surprised. You know, basically knowing my kids. You know, um, so much that there are no surprises. But
Mm-hmm.
although kids grow up and I mean evolution takes over, and
Mm-hmm.
but I always tell them that you are not the same person that you were when you were 5. Okay, now my daughter is 13.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not the same person when you were 5. You know, I also look at things differently. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so in terms of thinking, we also evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in terms of the principles and values, um, this family, these are just the things that this is who we are. This is
Mm-hmm.
I'm your father, and yeah. Sorry, I'm now just talking about everything. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear that you are raising the girls to know you as Ulwazi, yes, as their father, but also as Ulwazi who has dreams, who has aspirations, and you're taking them along for the journey. As you mentioned, you are not who you were, when they were 5, when they were just born. You are growing and you are evolving. And so you are reintroducing yourself to them at every stage of their lives, just as you are getting to know them at every stage of their lives. Now, Lwazi, like I mentioned briefly at some point in the conversation, we are living in a world where social media bullying is a thing. We are living in a world where gender-based violence is a thing. We are living in a world where, like just your child stepping outside the door can cause you major anxiety because literally anything can happen. How are you dealing with that, especially with girl children? I mean, all children need to be protected, but with girl children specifically, in this climate that we are in this country, how are you navigating around that?
Tough, man. That is tough. Um, yeah, I tell my kids straight that the world is a beautiful place, but full of ugly uh, things and people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but you do not have to now be ugly because of that ugly person, and
Mm,
you must be aware of the things that you don't like.
mm,
Because I mean, recently, Indy, my first one, she was telling me about this other girl from school that she's a bully. You know, I,
mm,
according to the things that she was telling me,
mm-hmm,
um, and according to her, she's like, "But this is my friend. How can my friend be like this?" And I'm
mm,
like, exactly that. Your friend is not supposed to be like that to you.
mm-hmm,
So you can't. And also, she said to me, when I'm uh, with with this girl, there's really nothing to say to each other. And I'm like,
mm,
then you can't be friends. Like you must love you must love yourself more. You must
Mm,
be number one. And then all your friends can follow. You must never ever beg someone to be your friend. You know,
mm,
um, because they will abuse you like what is happening now with this friend. And it
mm,
seems this friend of yours is a trigger. You know,
mm,
because you are so afraid of her. So you need to just step away. And I also
mm,
tell them that when you don't like something, don't be afraid of saying it like it is. Like, you know what? I don't appreciate what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. Um, and I mean, if it persists, then move away from that person. You know,
mm, mm,
if it's a school, then you tell your teacher. The teacher's not
mm,
helping. Brother, your mother is there. And I'm glad
mm,
that I, their mother and I, okay, we're not together, but we are in sync in terms
mm,
of the things, the things that are of good value and in terms of raising
mm,
these kids. And I think that's one of the things that we got right. Um, there's never a surprise in terms of what I say, even without telling her. Um, my daughter will go to her and she will get the same response, and I'm just like,
mm,
perfect,
mm,
because we can have the same understanding. And then in
mhm,
terms of cyberbullying, we made a decision um, with their mother that
mhm.
they're not getting, they don't have phones, so
Wow.
they're not on. Although Indy has Instagram now, but she's not always on Instagram. She
Mhm,
only gets on that only when she's at home, and I mean we have access if we want to.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, and I think talking about everything helps.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I hope she tells me
I hope she tells you everything too. But it's absolutely amazing. And
uh,
believe me, I'm not just blowing smoke up in your face to say, hey, you're doing a great job. But really, we spoke about this last week. We spoke about um changing the cycles, changing the generational cycles, whether you believe they're there or they're not there, but they are just things that we are wanting to do different for our children. We are wanting to be the parents that our parents were not. And of course, we're not saying that our parents were not good parents, like you said, but we now know it's, oh, I
yeah,
wish
definitely
we
not.
had spoken.
Yeah.
I wish we had spoken more about this. I wish, there was an atmosphere in our household that allowed for us to vocalize our feelings and what's going on. Because in most cases, they're not. Especially in our African culture, they are stories that we hear of our malume who touched the children, cousins who touched the children, and all of these things that happened behind the scenes. But because there was no culture of communication, all of that was just swept under a rug, and we have young women and young men as well who are broken on the inside, and they still have not told a soul as to what happened to them. And so what I'm basically saying is, it's amazing, Lwazi, that you are creating this atmosphere for open communication with your daughters, because then that goes with them even into their relationships. And speaking of relationships, I just want to reflect also on my personal life. My dad was, yeah, he set the standard for what I would look for in a man. And so, what are you teaching the girls? What are you saying to the girls to say, hey, if he's not here, my girl, you need to walk away? Like, what are you teaching the girls about self confidence and knowing what they want not only from a relationship point of view, but career and life in general?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was the whole boyfriend stuff. Okay, Indy is not in fun. No, we haven't had that conversation. But for me, it's just life skills, and also, um, can you guys hear me? Okay,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can.
Um, life skills, and be able to handle yourself out in the socials. Um, I say, like what I said earlier on, and also with that quote, that be able to stand up for yourself, and don't be afraid to express yourself. You know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You must be open. You must be open to. Um, I do not like this. Uh, I don't want this. Um, this is who I am, and that's it. You know, basically, be able to articulate yourself, be able to express yourself. That is what I teach them in terms of when you're out there and your father is not next to you, or your mother is not next to you. Be able to
Mm,
stand up for yourself. You really don't have to shout at people.
mm-hmm.
They can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also, I mean, kids are not the same. I mean, you're raising two kids, but you will never, raise them the same way, because
Yeah.
they're not the same. So
Mm-hmm.
um, another kid will be very confident and have a very strong personality, and that child, then the only thing you have to do is just to help them to manage that,
Yeah.
and not overwhelm people with that, you know, and also
Mm-hmm.
not suppress it, So
Yeah.
for me, it is like that. Indy is a kind of quiet one, um,
Mm-hmm.
but also I I realized that, okay, she listens to what I say to her when
Mm-hmm.
she used it against me. She used it against me. So when I was doing this Mr. SA competition, so we go to this other place, and there was these other celebrities, and there was this one celebrity. So I don't know if she's a celebrity. You guys remember
Mm-hmm.
that girl that was fighting against Afros, um, in
Yes,
Pretoria?
yes, in
Pretoria,
Pretoria High, Pretoria Girls High.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So she was at the same place, and I put her next to her, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"You guys must each other. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna learn something from her, um,
Mm-hmm.
because she's kind of shy at first. You know, she needs to
Mm-hmm.
need to needs to get to know you before she, you know."
Yeah.
So she was very uncomfortable, and it didn't take place. And then now, fetching her at school,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "Hey, Indy, so did you have a chat with? I just forgot her name. Did you have a chat with her?" And she's like, "Tata, you know, no, I actually did not like what you did. I didn't like what you did. I didn't appreciate it, because you put me in such an awkward position, and I really didn't like it, because you just said, okay, Indy, and what's his name? And I was like, get to know each other. Like, no, I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
that, It was
Mm.
also just not right. Didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought I was doing the right thing, but okay, I'm sorry. It will never happen again,
Mm.
and I really, really appreciated that. Although I was kind of disappointed that, oh man,
Mm.
okay, you know, but I
Mm.
appreciated that,
Mm.
she was able to express herself and just, tell me straight
Yeah.
that, you know, And recently,
Yeah.
I told her that you should always just tell a person, whether it's me, your mom, your uncle, whoever, if you don't like something, say it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And so
yeah,
with that, you are teaching them boundaries. You are teaching them to stand up for themselves, regardless of the situation. And so that is absolutely amazing. So now to get into the conversation, we want to get everybody involved into this conversation. Lwazi, one of your other quotes was seek to understand, then be understood, right? And so I'm going to open up this
yeah,
conversation to everybody else, as well as Ulwazi. I'm just going to have a look. I see we've got Antoinette, who has joined us today. We've got Blessing. We've got Dika Lady. Wonderful to have you. We've got Linda. We've got Sitaho. We've got Utabisa, Mandy, and Nova. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And so with that quote, seek to understand, then seek to be understood, then be understood.
and
We are speaking mental health, right? And mental health, I have found, yes, it's about protecting my mind so that I can make sound decisions. I can make productive decisions. I can be healthy in how I lead and live my life. But at the same time, with this quote, we understand that we cannot be selfish. And so I want to pose it to you, Lwazi. In your day-to-day life, how do you then put that quote in action? And so I'm posing this question to everybody else as well. How are you then seeking to be understanding that, yes, I'm having a bad day. Yes, I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I'm not allowing that to then impose on somebody else. We spoke about how men handle their feelings and how most cases they can't open up to their partners or their loved ones about how they are feeling. So how are we then opening up spaces to be understanding so that we too can be understood? I see Tabisa has got her hand up. Before you answer, Lwazi, I'm just gonna allow Tabisa to speak up. Perhaps she's got a question or an addition. Tabisa, you may unmute your mic and go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, host. Thank you so much, Lwazi. It is a very wonderful conversation we're having today. You mentioned something that you had to apologize to your daughter. And I believe that a lot of parents, they do things. In fact, as parents, we do things without even knowing that we have made our children feel in a certain way. And getting to a space where you say, I am sorry to your child. It was seem as if your child is like they're being disrespectful when they are expressing how they feel to you. Or we as this generation, when you express that, mommy, I did not like what you did, or dad, I didn't like what you did, it was like you were being disrespectful. So now how do you then get yourself to a space, or how do we educate ourselves as parents to be parents who are able to apologize to our children so that we don't raise children who are angry or children who have been holding up something that we could have just fixed by just saying, I'm sorry? And how do you also zoom in and navigate into how your child feels about the action or the decision that you have made? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabisa, for that question. Yes. So you apologize, but how do you zoom in? How do you go a step further to say, what really was it about my action that offended you? Because a sorry without understanding is also just words. So how do you zoom in, Lwazi?
yeah. I see. Wow, what a question. That's just okay. So because I think it would be if a child were to say that to, let's say, to a stranger parent, let's say here at school, and it's Gala, and another parent comes up to my daughter and does something, you know, and a child stands up for herself, like, no, I'm sorry, but I don't like that, you know. Another parent who maybe does not come from the same school as the one that I adopted, which is we also apologize to the kids because we also are teaching them something, you know. And also we allow kids to express themselves, you know, without being disrespectful. Because when a child is saying that, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, you know. Um, sorry, yeah. Uh, Let me just go back to my one. How do I zoom in? Or how did I zoom in when my child told me that and I apologized? I didn't just apologize, obviously. I tried to explain it to her why I did that, you know, and who that person was, you know. And again, seeking to understand and then to be understood was me probing and me explaining why I did what I did. And it was in a rushed way because I also had to do a shoot, and it was just an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity, you know, for her to get to know someone who is expressive, someone who is able to stand up for herself, you know. Um, Maybe she could learn something. So I was telling her all of these things, you know. But the point was that you put me on the spot, and I'm not that person, you know. And also, you did not give me a chance, or to, you know, give us a chance and say, this is Indy, this is my daughter, this is the reason why I'd like you guys to get to know each other. You know, I just went like blah blah blah, and then I left. You know, that's what she said to me, and I was like, and it made sense, you know, because she's not the same as Loopy, as my the little one, you know. So that's why I was able to apologize. You know, there was nothing disrespectful about her. Um, she did exactly what I always say to her, that be able to say when you don't like something. So yeah.
Yeah. No, we are
Obviously,
still speaking. We are still speaking, and the floor is still open for questions. I see Dika Lady has her hand up. Dika Lady, please do unmute your mic and let's hear you.
Thank you, Jedidah. Hi, everyone. So
Hi,
my
Dika Lady.
thing, just in the question that you asked, is treat people the way that you would like to be treated, irrespective of age. Do unto others what you would like to be done to you. So I find it hard as well, you know, to apologize to my kids, but I try as hard as I can. So I would just give an example of how I punish my kids, for instance. When they do something wrong, they go into timeout. And when they go into timeout, I tell them that when you're in timeout, think about what it is that made me punish you or put you in timeout, and tell me your thoughts and feelings around that situation. So they would come back. Surprisingly, you know, I've got a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, 15 and 18. Even a 6-year-old will come and tell me what they did wrong. So they will identify what it is that they did wrong. Because sometimes kids do things without realizing that, you know, they're in the wrong. So sometimes you would get those, you know, that, yeah, you punished me and I tried to think so hard, but I could not make out what it is that I did wrong, you know, and then you can explain to say, you know, this is what I said and you did this, you know, this is what you did wrong. And if you did punish them, you know, because maybe you're just in a rush, especially between the 6 and the 10, you know, they would fight amongst themselves for something, it's boys. And then I now punish both of them. So the other one would say, but why am I being punished? Because I'm not in the wrong. So now I must step up and apologize because I was wrong for punishing them. So I would say, sorry, yes, I did wrong, you know, in doing this, but it was because I was angry and, you know, and, you know, we learn lessons from how we are treated. You know, as you grow up, parents, they raise you in a certain way. And the way that you are raised, you adopt it. You know, it's either you take the good or you take the bad. You know, when you come from an abusive family, it's either you'll be abusive yourself or you can just not want to be in any abusive relationships. You know, it's like Lwazi said that in his family, you know, growing up, they never said, I love you. Or, you know, indoda must be strong. And because of that, you know, he is now in a place where he wants to show emotions. And that is generation of generation that men were taught to be strong. You know, so how do you now break that? It is not going to be a one-day fix. It's going to take time to get there, you know, because boys are not taught to deal with their emotions. And, you know, the saying that indoda ikhalela ngaphakathi, it's heard so many times, you know, and ngaphakathi is where mental problems start. You know, even when you look at the statistics, you see that men are the ones that are committing suicide more than women. That in itself tells a story that, you know, there's a generation of men that are broken. Look at when we get married. Women are set down for days and they're taught how to treat a man, you know, how to be a woman, how to carry their household. Who speaks to the man?
Yeah.
Nobody speaks to the man to say, this is how you do it. And then now this man and this woman, they come together, they raise kids. There's going to be a clash, you know, because I am coming with equipment. I know how to raise my kids, but this one is coming, you know, with, I must be strong, I must have a strong exterior, you know, a light bulb, I'm the one that must fix it. The wife belongs in the kitchen. And, you know, if there's anything that needs to be fixed, that is my job, you know, and that's going to take time for us to get to a point where we see men as people with feelings as well. Because the moment a man cry, you know, you'd be like, oh, my husband was crying, you know, it's so sweet. Or you would see them as weak, you know, but not understanding that they also have feelings as much as you are. It's just us women, you know, when something hurts you now, you will react now, but men will take time to do it. So the same way that you react to your husband, you know, try to do the same with your kids. And yes, there might be, you know, an age difference and respect should be in the forefront, but conversations, just having a conversation is not disrespect. And that's something that we must understand, you know, because having a conversation in a manner that is acceptable, that you would not like when someone is, like I said earlier, that, you know, treat people the way that you would like them to treat you. If you would not like somebody to shout at you, don't shout at anyone. Don't even shout at your kids, you know. If you would like somebody to apologize to you when, you know, they've done you wrong, do the same. And be open about it. Communication is the biggest thing. You know, it is the main thing for any relationship. It is, you know, the basis of you healing from any mental issues that you might have. Yeah,
And
that
it's
is
the
my,
hardest.
it is the hardest. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are muted, Jatida.
Well, thank you. I was trying to avoid the background noise in my house. But yes, thank you so much for your contribution, DK Lady. That was beautiful and worth receiving. And you're absolutely right. True also what Lwazi was saying, you know, when we are seeking to be understood, it's basically you looking into yourself to say, how would I want to be treated? How would I want somebody to come to me with this issue, and how would I receive it? And so the moment you can take a beat to just be like, wait, this is happening, but how would I want it to be done unto me? It then allows you to, you know, approach your kids differently, to approach your spouse differently, and the people around you differently. We're still having the conversation, guys. Seeking to understand before, you know, you're being understood, because the moment you understand others, you can then cause others to understand you. And so we are speaking mental health. I'm just going to call out a couple of people because we do want to hear your voices and we do want to hear what your thoughts are. So I'm going to call out Blessing. Blessing, are you available? Can you unmute your mic and just share with us, how are you seeking to understand in your life so that you can be understood? Is Blessing available? Okay, I guess not. All right, I'm gonna call somebody else. Linda, are you available for a contribution? Your thoughts, what are your thoughts around understanding and seeking understanding so that you in turn can be understood, especially around mental health, the mental health conversation? Linda,
Hello,
are you?
Linda.
Hey, wait, here we go. Hey guys, how you how you doing?
Hello.
We're
know
doing
what?
good. We're doing good.
Ah man, I feel like a
Good.
naughty child in a naughty corner, or about to be in a naughty corner right now. Let me just tell on myself. So I actually was going listening to two meetings at the same time, because I'm like, I'm not missing this
okay.
meeting. I don't care. So I'm muted on this. I'm like, go run away with that one, so I can talk on this one without the other ones hearing me. No man, I always enjoy and big ups to you guys for creating this platform. I always try to be available when I can. And I see you got my boy Lwazi. Yay!
What's up? What's up, babe?
Man. Good. So yeah, sure. Firstly, I just want to say, Lwazi, that's thanks for sharing what you have shared. And as a young father, and putting yourself out there confidently and proudly, so being a father is very humbling. It's a beautiful thing to see. I'm talking because not all men do that, and especially men who are in our industry, as in the pageant world. They want to portray this picture that I don't have kids, I'm the next hottest catch, this and that. But you are out there and you're showing it all, like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. Continue to do that, because it's definitely a beautiful example for your girls as well. And for us as women to say, some of us, for example, I'm a single mom of 3 grown-ass kids, and they did not get the kind of I don't know, love and affection and appreciation that you show your kids. And that's what it makes it very easy for women to start coming up with phrases like "men are trash." It's usually based on what they have experienced, and then they want to put it as a blanket over everybody. But men like you do show that that's not the case, and keep on doing that, and keep on encouraging other people in your circles and surrounding to say, "Hey, man, we're here, we're fathers. Let's lead and live by example. We can still be it all. We can still be the father that I'm called to be. I can still be the hottest thing that's get paid to be hot and sexy." I know you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean, Lwazi. I just had to throw that in there.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna have to ask you back to my host to ask me your questions again, because I have then went on a different rant, and I want to come back and answer the question that you are asking everybody. You are muted.
I'm so sorry. No
problem.
But yeah, the question is, how are you seeking to understand so that you can be understood, right? How are you then, as a mom, as a spouse or a partner, whatever the situation might be, or as a colleague, in the mental health space, how are you putting understanding first so that you in turn can be understood?
Okay. It's actually quite funny that you asked me this question today, because I had an incident in the office today, and I mean it's first few weeks of the year, and in the space that I work in, things can really get heated up. And the pressure, I mean, you just came back from December, you are relaxed, and then you are thrown in a pressure cooker, you don't know how to react. So everybody is literally stepping on everybody's toes and literally choking on everybody's throats. And what I do and what I have learned over the years is to lean back by leaning back is that I'm not quick to react. I'm not quick to respond. I'm coming from a space of understanding that whatever the situation is, it's not always about that situation that's happening in that moment. How you are reacting now has nothing, most of the time, has nothing to do with what you are going through right now. You are carrying things, that there's things that have been happening, and you are projecting whatever happened in your response right now. If we all just took a step back and actually be in the moment, you will realize that the things we are choking each other about are not that much of a big deal anyway. If you just leaned back and looked at it in a more logical way. So for example, today I had an incident. So my PA is due to go for maternity leave, and there's just been a miscommunication between myself, the line producer, and her. And they're talking, and then the next thing, boom, they are arguing, and then I'm called in. So I could easily take whichever side that I feel is right from where I am coming from, and in the heat of the moment. But how will that help? You need to be able to walk into that space and be the civil voice of reason. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about how can we find a solution. So I always come from a solution-based approach. Even with my kids, I'm like, okay, and I've got different, I mean, I don't know, man, I don't even know. I swear to God, they swapped them in the hospital when they gave them to me. Because how can I have 3 so different kids? That's it, the world in they swapped them up. They're like, no, you're going to give you this one, and they're going to give you this one, and then you're going to swap this one around. So you listen, and they all in their teenage years, and there's things, and the other one is going to become a man. I mean, he's 23 years old. My firstborn is 23, and he's looking at things differently, and he's trying to figure out what's going on with his mom, because now his mom is doing pageant, and she's like, "Mom, you're 42, sit down." So you yeah, and the other one is like, "No, Mom," so they're like, I mean, the other day they said to me, we're in the lounge and we talking about something, and then I'm excited about the dress I'm gonna wear, and they're talking to each other like, "Guys, just tell me, how old do you think your mom thinks she is?" And I'm like, so I can easily get offended, or maybe my self-esteem gets low because my kids are saying, whether they're saying it jokingly or mean it can affect in any way. But if I come, depending on which approach I'm dealing with, if I'm leaning back and just like taking it for what it is and staying in my own lane, so they say, I don't actually care. I'm like, I'm gonna get in the dress and I'm gonna look super sexy, and I'm getting out there and I'm bye. So yeah, I always take the approach of leaning back and remove emotions, be self-aware, and be solution driven, because emotions can drive us crazy. No,
definitely. Thank you so much for your contribution, Linda. And you're right. I think even to Lwazi's quote, that's what I got away from that, is that it allows you to take a beat. It allows you to stop, reflect, and judge the situation, with a sober mind, where you're like, wait, is this really about me? Is the child, being disrespectful, or is she being herself? And, being single parents and being in relationships and all the other things, being an employee or a boss, or whatever the case might be, we carry so much with us that our judgment can often be clouded, when we are responding and reacting to situations. And so we would love to hear everybody share their thoughts and, their takeaways from today's session. But just in a few words, Lwazi, as we do come to the end of the session, in a few words, Lwazi, what would you like to leave us with as parents raising children, and perhaps raising them with little to no experience of what a good parent should be, or how to love, or how to communicate, or how to say sorry even? What would your advice to be in a few words?
Wow. thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this platform. I think it's a really good platform, and I hope to come back, um, come and listen. I've learned a lot, even just today.
Mhm,
Um, so what I can leave you with is just love your kids, and I think kids are not as difficult if we sit back and try to understand. You know,
mhm,
yeah, man. Like kids are not looking for rich parents. They're looking for
mhm,
someone, someone that they can talk to, someone that loves
mhm,
them, someone they can
mhm,
always call when they're in trouble, and know
mhm,
that this person, whether I'm in the wrong, their family,
mhm,
your home should be the safest of spaces.
mm,
The child must be free to be able to, tell you anything. You know,
mhm.
again, kids are not the same. To Linda's, what she was saying, she's got three kids, totally different. Um,
Mhm,
so don't expect to kids are different. Love your kids and
mhm.
love yourself. Take care of yourself
Yeah.
because your kids need you. Um,
Mhm,
and there's this thing that people think that kids are the most important people. Let's say you are a couple, you are married. You guys are the most important people.
mm.
If you guys don't take care of yourselves, and it's chaos, then the people that you are raising and taking care of, it's gonna be chaos too. But if you guys are
Yeah.
good, taking care of yourselves, everything is gonna be all organic. It's gonna be effortless.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, love your kids, take care of your kids, and communicate with your
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah.
Listen
Yeah.
to your kids, and
Mhm.
yeah, that is what I can say. Yeah, what I can leave you with. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've been absolutely amazing, amazing, amazing. And yeah, like has been said, let's seek to understand so that we in turn can be understood. And Ulwazi has shown us, to Linda's point, has shown us a different narrative. We know what's going on out there. We know what's being said about dads. And of course, we are taking in consideration that everyone's situation is different. But the point of this platform is also to show that there is good out there. There is hope out there. You can change, you can evolve, you can present a better version of yourself every day. You fail today, we wake up tomorrow, we try again, and we keep going until we evolve to the best versions of ourselves as an individual, as a mom, as a friend, whatever many hats you wear. There's always an opportunity to show up as a better version of yourself tomorrow. And so we would love to say thank you so much, everybody, for joining, for taking out the time to support us. And we love you for joining. Have a wonderful night, and may the conversation continue. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night. Thank you, Lwazi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Have a grand one.
Goodbye,
Cheers.
everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I know Linda.
Thank you, Mandy, for joining. Thank you, Nova. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you, Blessing, for joining.
Thank you.
Even though you
Wow,
didn't
so
hear
Blessing
your
can
voice.
speak.
Wow. I see you. I see you. I see you, Blessing.
Thank you. Thank you for joining, Blessing. Thank you so much for joining. And would love
Wait.
to
Which
have
blessing is this? Wait, which blessing is this? Whoa.
your blessing.
Come on.
It's
You
me,
will
Mother
wait.
Jesse.
I think we can
Wait.
stop the recording.
Blessing is this. I only know one blessing.